A man sits in a cold Roman prison, chained like a criminal. He has no stage, no followers, no freedom. Just a pen and a few pieces of paper. But what he writes in that darkness will outlive empires, will shape civilizations, will change millions of lives, including yours. These are not just letters. These are the final words of a man who gave everything and held nothing back. And if you read them in the order they were written, you don't just see theology. You see a life, a battle, a breaking point, and a faith that refused to die. Tonight, we are not just reading Paul's letters. We are walking through his life, step by step, pain by pain, letter by letter. Paul's story does not begin in peace. It begins in fire. Not the fire of passion, but the fire of anger. The first letter we have, Galatians, is not calm. It is not polite. It is explosive. Paul had nearly died preaching the gospel, stoned, dragged, left for dead. And now, someone is telling his people, faith is not enough. You need rules, you need rituals, you need more. And Paul snaps. He doesn't ease into it. He doesn't say hello. He goes straight for the heart. You are turning to a different gospel. This is not just a disagreement. This is war. Because if grace is not enough, then Jesus was not enough. Paul fights like a man who knows what's at stake, because he used to be on the other side. He used to destroy Christians. Now he's willing to die for them. And from this moment, one truth is carved into history. You are not saved by what you do. You are saved by what Christ has done. Then the story shifts from anger to love, from battle to concern. Paul reaches Thessalonica, a city full of chaos. He stays a few weeks and then runs for his life, leaving behind brand new believers. No Bible, no building, no structure, just faith and fear. Because people are dying and they think they've missed everything. So Paul writes again, but this time his tone changes. Soft, gentle, father-like. I don't want you to grieve like those without hope. And then he says something that echoes through centuries. The dead in Christ are not lost. They are first to rise, first to see him, first to win. And suddenly, grief turns into hope, fear turns into comfort, and faith becomes real. Corinth is not a weak church. It is a mess. Division, pride, immorality, ego. People are fighting over leaders. I follow Paul. I follow Apollos. It sounds spiritual, but it's just pride dressed in religion. And Paul sees through it instantly. This is not a church growing. This is a church tearing itself apart. And then, in the middle of correction, he stops. Everything slows down, and he writes words that the world would never forget. If I have everything, but have not love, I am nothing. This wasn't written for weddings. It was written for war, for broken people hurting each other, because truth without love becomes noise. Then Paul hits the foundation, the resurrection. If Christ is not risen, everything collapses. Faith becomes empty. Hope becomes fake. Life becomes meaningless. But Paul declares Christ is risen, and because of that, this is not the end. Now Paul is in chains, but something strange happens. His strongest letters come from prison. Ephesians shows God's eternal plan. Philippians, joy in suffering. Colossians, Christ above everything. Philemon, grace in action. He is locked up,
but his words are free. And Philippians shocks everyone, because Paul says, rejoice always, from prison. Not comfort, not success, but chains. That kind of joy does not come from life, it comes from Christ. Then Colossians goes deeper. Christ is not just a teacher, he's the one holding the universe together, not metaphor, reality. And then Philemon, a runaway slave, a broken past, and Paul says, receive him like you would receive me. That is grace, not theory, action. Now everything changes. This is not house arrest anymore. This is a dungeon. Cold, dark, lonely. Most people are gone. Some left, some betrayed him. Only one remains, Luke. And Paul knows this is the end. So he writes one last time, not to a church, to a person, Timothy, his son in faith. And his words are not dramatic, they are real. Preach the word, even when they don't want to hear it. Do not be afraid, stay faithful. And then his final line, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Not perfect, not famous, faithful. And then one small request, bring my coat, winter is coming. Even legends feel cold, even heroes get tired, but he never quit.